Hello everyone, welcome to my booktube channel. I know it's been a long time since I met you last and there are multiple reasons for it and I'm going to tell them one by one. The first reason why I did not upload any new videos is because life happened. The second reason is I injured myself. Actually, I injured my face very badly in a very freak accident, and because of that I had to spend a lot of time nursing my injury, and that was the reason why I was not able to upload any videos. And it's actually fairly recent, so I had to take time off from posting anything on social media because it was not a pretty scene. Okay, but having said that, I have recovered now. My face, as you can see, there is a small mark here, but it is recovering, and that is why now I thought it's the right time to come back on my YouTube channel and upload my videos. I have a lot of fun content planned for you guys, and thank you so much for staying with me through this tough period, because I've seen that my subscribers haven't decreased, but I have in fact added 1 or 2 subscribers. So thank you so much, and welcome to all the new people who have joined me in this YouTube booktube channel of mine. Now what I'm going to do today is tell you about all the books that I have read in September, October and November, and there are 13 books in all, which is not quite bad actually. I was thinking that I did not read much, and that was because of my injury and the life happened and stuff like that, but 13 books in 3 months, not bad. So I'm going to start with all the books I read in September. But before I start with all the books that I read in September, there's another update from my end. I've recently started blogging about books and reading in general, so if you're interested to read my thoughts about books and reading, then definitely check out my blog. The link is in the description box. Okay, so now let's start with the books that I read in September. I'm going to go in the order in which I finished reading a particular book. So the first book that I finished reading in September was Anna Karenina, which had started in August. And you know, Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy is a classic and is a tome. It's I think 800 or 900 pages long, but it took me just about 3 weeks to finish this book because the story is amazing. I love this book, and I think I should do a separate video on Anna Karenina, why everyone should read Anna Karenina. But trust me, I had a lot of inhibitions before I kind of started reading this book. I thought that the language would be difficult. It's Russian literature, and this is one of my first books in Russian literature. I think before that I had just read some short stories. So I was very worried, but the language is simple. I read more translation, I think, which was one of the first translations of this book. As you know, this book is written in Russian and then translated into English. So I love this book. The language is simple, the story is intriguing, and what do I say, just pick it up. The next book that I read was The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Yes, I was living under the rock. I did not read this book before. I'm sure many of you, if you have not read this book, you must have at least seen the movie, and I had not done either of the two things. So finally when I read this book, I really loved it. It's a very short classic. You can finish it in a day or two, and it's very interesting. So definitely give this book a try. The next book that I read was The Bridges of Madison County by Robert James Waller. Now, after reading Anna Karenina, I was in a mood to read some romance, and this book is actually based on a real life story. So what happens is, the children of one of the protagonists visit this author, and they request him that why don't you write the story involving their mother, because they find some letters that this particular protagonist had written to her, lover, and they think that this is going to make a beautiful story, and the author really likes what he read, and he converts that into fiction. The next book that I read in September was again a classic, that is Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. Now, it's an African trilogy. It is a classic, and I was really scared to read it because I thought I might not understand the language, but this book is very short again, and it's very intriguing. This is about people in this small African village, how their lives is. The author speaks about the customs and the culture about this people of this village, and then how things slowly start to fall apart because of the dread of colonization. So it's a very interesting book. Most of the characters are dislikable. If you like to read books with dislikable characters, then I think this is a perfect book, because for me, I really liked the story, but I was not able to connect with any of the characters in the book. The next book that I read was a bibliomystery. Now, bibliomystery is a mystery revolving around books. So it's also a book about books. So I really love this genre of books about books. And the name of the book is The Mystery of Henry Pig by David Foynkinos. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. And this book is very interesting. Again, as I said, it's a bibliomystery, and I don't want to give you anything. I don't want to tell you much about this book because it's a very short book again, and I think you should just get into it without knowing much and just enjoy it. Next book that I read was, okay, now we are in October, so all of these books that I read were in September, and now let's move on to October. Now October, as you know, is considered as the spooky month because of Halloween, and you tend to read all spooky books in October. So I started with The Haunting of Hill House, and I was expecting that I'll get really scared reading this book because I thought it will involve a lot of gothic elements, which were there. Obviously there were a lot of gothic elements involved. In fact, I finished reading this book when I was alone at night, and I did not feel scared. So I wanted a book that really scares me, so this one did not live up to that expectation, but the story was good. If you like haunted houses, then you should give this book a try. The next book that I read is Emma by Jane Austen. It's a classic. It's about this young woman who is a sort of a meddler who interferes in other people's lives when it comes to choosing their life partner. She's a self-proclaimed matchmaker, and then how her character develops from being a meddler to a mature woman who realizes that maybe she's not right all the time. So it's a very interesting read, and you know Jane Austen, she is my queen. I have a goal in my mind that by 2023 I want to read and reread all of Jane Austen's novels. The next book that I read, again we come to the spooky month theme, and that's Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and I loved it. I really liked the atmospheric setting that was created by the author. I love the story of Rebecca in the sense that our protagonist is unknown. Rebecca is the name of, should I tell you this? Well, I should not tell you this actually. You should just go into this book blind and enjoy it. If you have not seen the movie, I think you should first read the book and then see any movie adaptation of Rebecca, because I find that movie adaptation, I have seen 2 of them, or at least 1.5, because the second one I left in between because I just didn't like it, and the one that I saw had kind of changed a few things and I did not like it. So if you have not seen the movie adaptation of Rebecca, then definitely read the book and you will enjoy it. Okay, so after Rebecca, I read a graphic novel. After a very long time, I read a graphic novel, and that was Batman: The Killing Joke Deluxe. I really loved it. You know, I'm someone who has not seen any of Marvel or DC movies. I'm definitely not into comics, but this book felt appealing. It was there on my shelf. I picked it up and I liked it. I liked the story of Batman, and after reading this book, I thought of reading maybe more of Batman books. So if you have any recommendations for me, then please do comment. And the next book that I read in October was Let's Talk Money by Monica Hullen. This is a non-fiction book. This book talks about money management for young people. So if you're in your 20s or your 30s, then definitely pick this book up. It talks about how you have to save money, what are your best investment options, how you should be careful about what investment or financial product you choose. And one thing that I love about this book is written for people who don't understand finance that well here, and the author does not talk down to her readers. She explains concepts well, she tries to elaborate them, and in very, very simple, non-jargon kind of a way. So definitely read this book, you will definitely benefit from it. It's written for Indian audiences because the text instruments or the financial products that are mentioned are all for Indian readers. Next book that I read was 5-star read for me, and that is Everything the Light Touches by Janice Pariat. This book is set in northeastern part of India, and oh my god, I give this book 5 stars. I just love this book. It is so beautiful. It draws inspiration from nature. There are 4 narratives in this book, separated from each other by a century, and the story is written in such an engaging way that I think is exquisite. I love this book. In fact, I want to do a separate video, and that will do justice to this book, where I talk in detail about this book. Now let's get into November. The first book that I read in November was a science fiction novel. In fact, it comes under this SF Masterworks series, and that is Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes, and I love this novel. It is a story about a scientific experiment which some scientists where they try to manipulate human intelligence through a certain kind of an operation. So there is this person who has a very low IQ, and through human intervention they make him super intelligent, but how that changes his life, and whether it's okay for us humans to meddle in people's intelligence, like do we really need that kind of an intelligence, and how important it is for the emotional intelligence to also grow simultaneously with your intellectual intelligence. So it's very interesting, it's heartwarming, and it's like a punch in your stomach at times. So I would recommend keep a lot of tissue papers beside you while you pick this book up. Okay, and the last book that I read in November, because November has been a tough month for me reading wise, I could read only 3 books, is The Inseparables by Simone de Beauvoir, if I'm saying it right, a famous feminist, thinker, philosopher, author of Second Sex. This was her novel, this was her unpublished novel, in the sense that she had written this novel and it was never published in her lifetime. So as recently as 2020 or 2021 this novel was published, and I think it is a semi-autobiographical novel, because she talks about the story is inspired by real life friendship that the author shared with one of her best friends. It's tragic. At the same time, it's about female friendship, how it evolves, what are the pitfalls when it comes to love marriages during that time, like during early 20th century. It is interesting, and I think it's heartbreaking also. I read this book as a part of a book club that I'm going to attend in December, and I'm so excited to discuss this book more and get some more insights by talking to people who will be part of this amazing book club that I'm going to attend in December. So these were all the books that I read from September to November, and I really enjoyed talking about these books to you all. I will also tell you what books I am currently reading in my next video. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in my next video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.